The objective for this video is to show the relationship between a hypothesis test for a true mean and a confidence interval estimate for the true mean. There is a relationship between confidence intervals and hypothesis testing. If the hypothesis test conclusion is to reject the null hypothesis, then a confidence interval constructed with the same level of significance would not contain the hypothesized mean. Likewise, if a hypothesis test conclusion is to not reject the null hypothesis, then a confidence interval constructed with the same level of significance would contain the hypothesized mean. The procedures for finding the measures used in this video have been covered in previous videos and will not be carried out in detail here. In this video, we will focus on how confidence intervals can be used to draw conclusions for hypothesis testing. The average one-way airfare from Pittsburgh to Washington, D.C. is $236. A random sample of 20 one-way fares during a particular month had a mean of $210 with a standard deviation of $43. Use a confidence interval to determine if there is sufficient evidence to conclude a difference from the stated mean at a 0.02 level of significance. Step 1 would be to identify our hypotheses. Since we are asked to determine if a difference exists, this will be a two-tailed test. So the null hypothesis will be mu equal to 236, and the alternative hypothesis will be mu not equal to 236. Step 2 is to identify the critical values, which in this case will be plus or minus 2.539 since this is a two-tailed test. Step 3 is to calculate the test value, which will be negative 2.704. This test value of negative 2.704 clearly lands outside of the region where we would not reject the null hypothesis. So step 4, which is to state the decision, is to reject the null hypothesis. The 98% confidence interval estimate of the mean would extend from $185.60 to $234.40. This confidence interval does not contain the hypothesized mean of $236. In the table that shows the relationship between confidence intervals and hypothesis tests, we see that, just as in our example, when the hypothesized test conclusion is to reject the null hypothesis, the confidence interval does not contain the hypothesized mean. In this video, we showed the relationship between a hypothesis test for a true mean and a confidence interval estimate for the true mean.